MotoGP arrives in Malaysia for round 19 of the 2024 World Championship. No one knows exactly what is going to happen. We're into the unknown as free practice begins. Hello everybody and welcome to free practice for the MotoGP Malaysia Grand Prix. We will get to the basics in a few moments of what we need to talk about. Right now, let's hand over to TNT Sports as well.
It's a good handful of points. I'm wondering whether the importance of it is the fact that it does or would enable Jorge a little mistake.
Yeah, it's a margin that you obviously want to get it over at least one race worth of points, so you need 25 to feel comfortable, but still it does allow you a mistake. You could crash out of the sprint and still be leading the title race by 5 points if Pecco was to go and win. So Jorge won't be focusing on those permutations. Every time we've spoke to him, asked him about finishing second, every time to Pecco's enough, but he's not considering it. He's just thinking, I need to go out there, approach my weekend, as I have done all year, win races or put everything on the line to get a pole lap. He's just approaching this weekend as he did in Buriram, and as Neil mentioned, just seeing those two riders take all the risks that they took in the wet weather conditions to battle for those 25 points just shows they're both riding at the utmost. So 17 points is nice for Jorge Martin, but I honestly don't think he's really considering it much at the moment. He's just thinking, I need to go out there and I need to get as many of the 37 points that are available this weekend.
We're just looking at the two men that could figure in this championship as well, Marc Marquez and Enea Bastianini, who are only out for their own victories, understandably so. But just to go back to that point about Jorge Martin going out to win a race, of course we would expect him to say that. That's in his nature. He's not a reserved kind of rider. But I suppose that 17 points, it gives him that cushion of if he is in a situation where he's second and it's a big risk to try to get first, he can just throttle take the second.
He can, and Pedro Costa just getting rid of some dirt on the circuit there as well, as we welcome you up here to the commentary box as well. So, let's start off I think with the big news. First of all, everybody here at JB Motorsports sends their thoughts and prayers to everybody in Spain and especially Valencia, where we have seen catastrophic flooding and unfortunately a very high death rate as well. It is shocking, the scenes that we have seen coming out from there as well, and understandably racing will take a back seat. We don't care about motor racing, we care about people, and the scenes that we have seen there in Valencia are horrific. Our thoughts and prayers are with the victims, their families and friends, and with everybody there, and as well speedy work to the recovery team as well. To talk about now motorsport, because we are a motorsport channel and this is a motorsport race, this is the latest news. We have knowledge that Formula E have cancelled their pre-season test at Valencia and moved it to Girona, where is the circuit which used to host Formula One's Spanish Grand Prix. You might remember it from 1981, the last time it hosted, with Gilles Villeneuve winning with 5 cars behind him across the line in what was at the time the closest ever finish between the top 5 in Formula One history. So that is where Formula E are going to move their pre-season testing to. We're covering that test next week as well on JB Motorsports. But that is what's happening because they didn't want to add local pressure to the Valencia people as well. Currently, MotoGP has put out a statement saying that they are supporting and sending money and relief efforts as well to Valencia. But we have no official news on what will happen. Right now, we don't know 3 things. 1, we don't know if the Valencia Grand Prix will happen. Everybody in the paddock doesn't want it to happen. It's not the right thing to do. 2, we don't know if the Grand Prix at all will happen in terms of round 20 of the season. There's no news there. 3, if Valencia doesn't happen, there are alternatives being looked at Qatar on December the 8th. We are also looking possibly at Barcelona, but that looks out with more flooding in that Barcelona region. We're also looking at Portugal, whether that be Estoril or Portimao. Also on the cards is another race here in Malaysia. There won't be any double points this weekend. That's been now confirmed, considering that we've started the weekend, so now we have to finish it as it is. With the gap being 17 points in the championship, it is entirely likely that we could cancel round 20 of the season, and this Malaysia Grand Prix weekend becomes the final. So, as things stand here in Free Practice 1, we have no news and no idea what is going to happen. We will bring you all the latest as soon as we know it. Thoughts and prayers, though, are with everybody in Spain and Valencia right now. We must move forward to the weekend because we have got a championship decider, possibly. 17 points the gap between Jorge Martin and Pecco Bagnaia to Bagnaya's victory in Thailand. Colorado 201.655 here at Malaysia right now. But the championship, it's the rematch between the two. And this is where it's going to get exciting. 453 points for Jorge Martin, 436 for Pecco Bagnaia. This could be the last round of the championship, ergo the rematch is on as well. Bagnaia's had 9 wins this season, only 3 wins for Jorge Martin. It really is quite a fascinating stat between the two that we sort of have to keep an eye on between them all as well. So we're having fun. We're looking forward to it. Let's check in once again with TNT Sports, get their points of view as well, and then we'll come back up to the comms box as well.
Sort of stay in the same kind of hotels. We were in the same hotel as Jorge Martin, for example, and honestly, he looked so chilled.
Yeah, I agree, and I think a lot of it is a combination of we've been here before. Obviously, this was last year, it's the repeat, and Jorge Martin openly admitted that last year he found it more difficult. He's learned how to deal with the pressure situation, and also I think part of it is we have that many press conferences now. There are
that they're bored.
That they are bored. There are with 6 races over a weekend period. Journalists have run out of ways of trying to put a spin on it, trying to build a rivalry. Look, there's a rivalry there. They both want to beat each other. Of course they do. But there's not hatred there. There just isn't. They've kept it clean on the track. We've said every weekend, me and Gav have talked off camera a few times, and I've said, oh, if this will be the weekend where one of them takes the other one out, because they've been really clean with each other, and it's not happened. And actually, I'm pleased to see that. It's been great that they've kept it fair and clean. But also then part of me, the nasty part of me, wants one of them to let the brake off, and they have a bit of hatred and a bit of, let's say, a proper rivalry. But actually, they have got a proper rivalry, and it's a proper professional rivalry, isn't it? So yeah, sorry to have answered your question in a long way, but I think they were a little bit bored of the same questions in the repetitive. And how many times, how can you spin it any different than everyone's tried? All the journalists have tried every angle to hoodwink them into saying something negative about their opponent, and they're both quite right.
Of course they are. It's understandable, isn't it? And I think the one big difference that we've all noticed, and that Jorge Martin has alluded to the fact that he handles himself differently this year. We see it in interviews, we see it in the way that he is able to put mistakes in a box quite quickly and move on from it. And
well, yeah, okay, you can put them in a box and get it all okay, but I still think that this weekend is going to be whoever doesn't drop it will get the lead of the championship, and possibly the championship in itself as well. Right, we're back in the comms box as well. Let's catch up with some of the messages. Hello to Tim Ask, good morning to you as well. Yes, we know about Valencia, we've just heard about it. And then which says, continued prayers for everyone in Valencia and Spain. Winter Purple says, I believe Ione's going to be Pecco's wingman since Ine will be leaving and will not follow team orders. Hello to Cristiano as well. Sorry for not showing the sectors. I wanted to get Valencia out of the way first. I hope they don't cancel the final round and just do back-to-back races in Malaysia since they're already there. It's on the cards, but next weekend there's the Petronas Malaysia Speed Week. So it's their demo weekend, which could be moved, but I don't know. It's difficult. Ideally, yeah, we could run Malaysia here, but I think the easiest situation is to cancel the final race, make Valencia the final, and then go somewhere else for a post-season test as well. if they need it. But rather, I think everybody would agree with me, we want to see race 20, but it shouldn't be in Valencia. We've got 6 weeks until the December the 8th date that they were looking at doing Qatar. Qatar looks more likely because it's a week after the Formula 1 races there. So all the infrastructure and all that is still there from the week before. And we can easily just slip in after Formula 1, get that done. Only problem is it's the same day as the F1 in Abu Dhabi. So we'd have to avoid them, which is simple. Qatar's got lights to start it later on in the afternoon. Formula 1 starts at 1 o'clock UK time. Just starting Qatar at 5 UK time and get them all done there for Moto3, Moto2 and MotoGP. Make it go later. We've got lights, let's do it. So, yeah, make it make sense. Let's get into the elephant in the room. We had the poll last time out, whether or not Andrea Iannone returning was a good idea or not. 90% of you said yes, 10% of you said no in the end in that first practice session. It has now been announced, and he is here. Andrea Iannone is back, at least just for this Malaysia Grand Prix, which could actually be the season finale. We don't know what's going on yet. But Fabio Di Giannantonio's gone off for his shoulder surgery. Valentino Rossi called Andrea Iannone while Andrea was on a flight and said, call me back, we've tried to call, but your bleeping phone was off. So Andrea Iannone, who is, let's face it, a drugs cheat, an unrepentant drugs cheat as well, who has never said what he did was wrong, but he came back in World Superbikes. He's been impressive there. I think that should have been enough for his redemption. Either way, Andrea Iannone is back on a MotoGP bike for the final here in Malaysia, as well as Marc Marquez gets caught out there by Maverick Vinales in that last corner. Bagnaia goes top to a 2:08:02, a tenth quicker than Jorge Martin at the moment between them. But yes, Andrea Iannone's back. He's going to race here in Malaysia, and personally, I don't think it's the right decision. He is a drugs cheat, and he is a multiple drugs cheat. I think World Superbikes was enough. I don't think he deserves being back in MotoGP, but I'm happy that he can have a one-race sort of goodbye. As sort of like, okay, you get to come back, that's it now. Because, of course, it was here in Malaysia where his career ended. He was banned. Midway just before the penultimate race of the season in Malaysia, so he didn't do Malaysia and Valencia. So sort of getting to do Malaysia and Valencia sort of completes his career. I think that ties a nice little bow. But the Maniac is back, and he's in 21st position at the moment. And Bastianini is on a lap time at the moment as well, as you can see on the sector time. So he too finding out some spots out here at the moment. Let's check in with TNT once again. Also, with no Megan here this morning, she's here. She's been ill, so she's back she's back at 7 a.m. So we're sort of just taking it easy on me at the moment. Susie.
Kind of never admitted that he made a mistake, but he's back. He's racing. He's in World Superbike.
This is easy. They're talking about the same thing.
Valentino asked him to come and replace Fabio Di Giannantonio for a couple of races. What are your thoughts, Michael?
Well, as he said, Valet rung him, and he didn't even hesitate, not even for a second. He was like, "Yeah, I'm happy to come and do that." So, yeah, it will be interesting to see how he adapts. He's been strong in World Superbike this year, but he's been a long time off a MotoGP machine. 3.6 seconds off isn't bad in 6 laps, though. He's always been talented, without a doubt, one of the fastest riders in MotoGP in his heyday, and yeah, he's been on the sidelines from a MotoGP machine for quite some time, but I think he's going to get in there in the mix close to the point scoring positions. So yeah, it's good to see him back in some ways. I know others don't agree that he didn't repent, he didn't admit that he was guilty, and then he suffered the double length penalty that he would have done had he just accepted the initial one. So yeah, you do. I feel for him a little bit career-wise that it was ruined on him. But yeah, getting a chance to return to MotoGP is a nice fitting tribute for him.
I think it's quite an interesting story, really. And if you look at the reaction to him coming to MotoGP on the socials, it was incredibly positive, Neil, from fans that just wanted him to see back on a bike. But 4 years away from these bikes, I mean, he must have looked at the bike here, and I mean, he will have looked at one, of course, but it's completely different animal to what he was racing in 2019.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, it's really interesting. I know we're going to speak to him at the end of the day, just to get that first reaction, the initial touch of what that feedback's going to be. But it'll feel, obviously, it's going to feel ridiculously fast. The brakes will feel incredible. You've got the ride-out device that's going on, which he won't have experienced at all. He'll have the ground force effect where the bike turns better, especially around these tracks. It's such good reference. Even though he's not ridden a MotoGP bike since 2019, believe it or not, Susie, he'll have his reference points on this track that he'll automatically go to. World Superbikes don't race here, so that they won't have been blurred. So these initial laps are so interesting. And I'll tell you what, he's already gone faster than Savadori on the Trackhouse race in Aprilia. So to say he's only done 7 laps, he's 3 seconds off. I think it's a good outing. I mean, with Andrea Iannone, it's mixed feelings in the paddock. Not about him being banned. It's his personality in general. He's very Marmite in this paddock. So genuinely, some people really like him, and some people are not too sure. I've worked closely with him. He was quite a challenging individual to interview, quite moody, and not quite the person you thought he was going to be. Slightly disappointed on that side.
Sometimes that can be, just playing devil's advocate, it can be a language thing. I don't think he's ever spoke particularly good English, and it can be somebody that can be quite reserved as a personality. Yeah,
I also saw him be quite rude with fans, which I couldn't really cope with, kids as well. So I've spent a bit of time with him over the years, and you know when you know, and I'm like. But all that said, what I have been told is the second time round in World Superbikes, everyone that's had dealings with him, and certainly limited time this weekend, people have said he seems like a different character, like he's, let's say, less arrogant and enjoying his second time round. So,
well, to have to lose your career effectively is going to have a deep effect on you, isn't it? Whatever your personality, and to get the chance to come back.
Absolutely. I will just add, and I've had to say this to a few other people. People have said, "Oh, he's so unlucky. He would have potentially been MotoGP World Championship." He was on the downward part of his curve. Yeah. In 2019, he finished 16th in the world. As in...
No, it moved sort of down the factories as well, hadn't it?
It moved down the factories, and like I said, I'm not being horrible. I'm just telling you the absolute truth. It was past his best, and he had an incredible career anyway. He would have stayed in MotoGP for another couple of years, but yeah, let's not kid ourselves that he got banned for the... How many years was it? 4 years?
4 years. Yeah.
Banned for 4 years, and that prevented him from being MotoGP World Champion. That was never going to happen.
No, that's possibly reversioning history.
Well, at the moment, yeah. Let's have a look at Enea Bassini as well. Down towards turn 1 on the trail break in as well. Watch the aero devices as well, just flipping away, under braking as well. We're stepping out. Quartararo has done a 2-minute .584, but the interesting thing about that is he's matched his own lap time to the nearest thousandth of a second from the previous run around. That's a 2-minute .584. So Quartararo has matched on those medium front hard rear tyres. Everybody's on that setup of tyre right now as well. Nobody's going for a soft, nobody's going for medium rear. They're all sticking to that setup in this first free practice session because they know how critical this afternoon is going to be as well. Iceman says, I'd say if the title is locked up this weekend by Jorge Martin, then don't find it. They don't need to find a replacement for Valencia. There is other things involved in that, in terms of. Well, I don't know actually where they are. I'll put it back on the camera for a second. They don't actually have to find a... Well, they kind of do. This is the problem. If they cancel the race in Valencia, it's classed as force majeure weather conditions. They get away with it. But if... Realistically, they need to find a 20th race because there's still other things to play for. This championship is 20 races long, but we're so close that we can't find anything. Then I'd say it sort of makes it has to be 20 races. So... we'll see how that one goes temporarily as well. It's Quartararo from Bagnaia and... Oh, hang on. Let's go to TNT.
Didn't mention it much, but It's just, there is nothing quite like these bikes. Imagine they do 0 to 60 in under 2 seconds. Like this, they are over 300 brake horsepower. The power of the brakes, you just use one finger on the front brake, and when they're up to temperature, it can throw you over the handlebars. They are like nothing else out there. These are the fastest, most amazing motorcycles in the world.
Well said. Let's talk about, well, here's Jorge Martin on screen. Let's talk about Marc Marquez. We haven't really talked very much about him and how instrumental he could be in the championship and points. Gav did a lovely interview with him last time out in Thailand. I thought it was really interesting, and towards the end of the interview he got to asking Marc about, you know, what he wanted for the remaining races, and of course Marc's like, I want to win every race.
Of course he does.
Being involved in the championship, and he laughed and he said, well, it's happened before, which I thought was quite poignant. How much of a part could he play in the fact that he's completely removed, really, from both Pecco and Jorge?
I think Marc Marquez is the kind of rider who can definitely win everything he wants to. We saw in Thailand how quick he got, and he was nearly there at the beginning as well. So yeah, about the 20th race, it should yellow flag sector 4. Yeah, so we should still have a 20th race if they can locate it. Something happened there between Bagnaia and Martin. They're running together on the circuit, and they're nearly stopping each other doing a practice start. I don't know what's going on right now. We've got Martin and Bagnaia running together. They've brought out a yellow flag on the back stretch. Martin's warming his tyres right behind Bagnaia on the other start line. So on the run into the last corner here. And Bagnaia is just strolling down the support pit lane, and Martin's head off. So a little bit of gamesmanship already between these two in what could be the last round of the weekend. That's by the support pit lane, the opposite start line that's on the other side of the circuit, which MotoGP did use once or twice. Well, we didn't use the main start line. Lap time cancelled for and that's cancelled Bastianini's lap time because the yellow flags came out. So Bastianini's great lap time, which is a 2-minute 5.595, has been cancelled by the stewards. So that is ridiculous in my opinion. That's a penalty for both of them. Because why go in the centre? This is Bastianini. Let's take a look again with TNT.
Oh, live track. Weaving, keep your tyres warm on a live track. Really? I don't know. They won't get a back of the grid one, but they could get a penalty for it. What do you think, Michael?
Do you think it's funny?
Well, in Moto3, obviously, to try and banish this, there is the penalty if you're slower than 110 or maybe 108%. I can't remember exactly the number for that each sector. Even on your outlap, as you pass sector 1, you immediately have to begin rolling quite fast. That rule isn't in place for MotoGP, but riding irresponsibly, you could get a penalty. So, yes, they're offline and it is free practice 1. I don't think anything would happen. But, yeah, at the same time, it's not the image that MotoGP and the stewards want to portray to the younger riders in Moto3. This is getting close.
Bez takes his mate out. Love that part of the track. A little short shift. Well, Quattro's fastest, Susie Perry, on a Yamaha. New engine for this weekend.
Yes.
They tested it in Misano and liked it. And then this is the first chance I've got to use it. So it looks like it's working. What the speed trap time's like. Oh, he's about mid-pack on the speed trap. 12 fastest.
It's the lap times that count.
It's the lap times that count.
But it's the wrong lap times that we're seeing at the moment, because the gamesmanship between them could have just cost them both a penalty in the race because they're playing silly buggers with each other. They need to get on with that. This weekend we can see again a wet race. Yeah, we could see wet races coming in. There is rain predicted for Saturday and Sunday, so that's great. Formula One the same actually, with their Brazilian Grand Prix. We could see rain coming in, so that's going to be absolutely fantastic to see if that comes in. Chirag says, will they shift to Portimao if Valencia is cancelled? My understanding is, from the paddock, from the journalists that have been there, first of all, let's say this, Dorna have said nothing on Valencia in over 36 hours. nothing, not one thing. They've said nothing. In fact, Hervé, you know, the main boss, I forgot his name now as well, Carlos something or other. Name's gone out of my head at 3 a.m. in the morning. The old man has said, well, we'll just go there racing. It doesn't really matter. We'll just delay it a week. So, you know, idiot as always from the Espinosas. But it looks like there's 4 options. One, as I said earlier, we'll just go and race in Valencia, but probably behind closed doors. 2, we race again in Malaysia next week. Doesn't look likely, but that's an option. 3, the race gets moved to either Qatar on December the 8th, which is a week after the F1. It gets moved to Catalonia, but even Montmello's under flooding. Jerez's under flooding as well, but it could be moved to Montmello. Or it gets moved to Portugal at either Estoril or Portimao. Most likely it's actually Estoril, because Portimao in this time of year won't be that good, but we're going there next year at the same time, so possibly Portimao. Option 4, the race gets cancelled and Malaysia is the last round. So yeah, that's how it all becomes as things stand. We have no news, but it's either Qatar, Malaysia, Catalonia, or Portimao, or the race gets cancelled if we go back to Valencia. So it's those options at the moment. So it's a really weird situation for the riders, because it's Friday, and it's a weird situation for everyone. We don't know if this is the last round of the championship. Catalonia is an option, but it is flooding their turn ground. So even that, at the moment, is, do we really need to go and do that? Is it really going to be up the situation as well? Marc Marquez comes in then here, who's won in Malaysia many a time as well. 62 Grand Prix wins now for Marc Marquez in MotoGP's Premier Class, 88 in total as well. Black time cancelled for Jorge Martin due to exceeding the track limits as well. So again, some more times being there. Just a reminder, the Formula E pre-season test now at Jarama will be broadcast here on JBMotorsports. MotoGP, whenever we have their post-season test, that will also be broadcast here on JBMotorsports as well. And all of this weekend will still be here as well, as our watch-along coverage continues for the Malaysia Grand Prix. Difficult times, different sessions coming through as well at the moment. Just all making sure everything's okay. There's our timing systems as well. Still looking a bit daft, isn't it, as well at the moment? On our data. Still everything so worried and confused about it all. There we go. Everyone nervous as well. Let's take a look at a replay down at turn 15, the last corner here at Malaysia. This is Martin on the previous lap. Front brakes, rear steps up, goes towards the right, comes down, grips to the left, and a tank slap at the rear. It was like a jiggy party between them, and Martin going straight on as well off the circuit. Back to TNT for a few minutes, because I can't talk consistently at the moment. And Megan's not well and needs some sleep, so she's back at 7 a.m. Ha!
Feel with the nave, he'll think, oh, I'll tell you what, I'll just stay calm here, and I'll take a 4th place, because where Mark will just ride over his limit and try and win. But I think he'll be clean around the 2 title contenders during the race. Don't get me wrong, if it's the last lap and he's a chance of winning, he will risk everything. But he does not want to take out Pecco Bagnaia or Jorge Martin. And
we have seen Anea do that on the last lap. Like, really fight for the...
Yeah.
And when that was right on the edge.
Oh, yeah, don't get any more on the edge than that. Absolutely.
So we could see some frosty stuff here. Well, with Anea being on the Ducati 2024.
You could see more from Anea because he's leaving Ducati. He's the one who might feel...
Well, he would.
That he's got a point to prove, and, well...
He's been booted out by Ducati. They didn't want him. I mean, that's the black and white situation, isn't it?
Yeah, but the reality is you've not got a golden pass to stay there for more than 2 years if you don't get the results. So, obviously, last year he had the injury, but he didn't really get the results after that. It was a messy year. This year is sitting 4th in the championship, whilst 2 of the 24 Ducatis are in front of him, so like he doesn't deserve to stay. I don't think Enea Bastianini's been harshly treated. He's had 2 years there and he's been destroyed by his teammate, and he's behind Marc Marquez in the championship on a year-old bike riding for Gresini. So not everybody can warrant to be in the #1 team.
And to be fair, it should have been Jorge Martin as well, but they've gone for Marc Marquez. Arguably the right decision, the correct decision, is to go for Marc Marquez. So we'll just have to see how that works next season. I am looking forward to 2025. There's so many riders in good bikes. Ducati, their best ever year. Looks like that's going to be put to bed. And it looks like now we're going to have everything changed over as well, where we're going to have, there's Pablo Nito, the team manager at VR46 as well. Sorry, my boss, I got some time off work because of meeting Marco Bezzecchi as well. They flew here from Japan, I believe. That said as well. Is this working, this blog? Because it's been stuck at 237 for a long time. Yeah, I thought, so. Yeah, well, it is working. It's just gotten stuck. There we go. I was like, is that working? Martin's bike snaps sideways onto braking, runs wide, big no bump. Yeah. I don't think that crash blog is that up to date at the moment, but we'll keep on with it in this one. Other manufacturer challenge Ducati in 2025? Well, we've got Pramac going to Yamaha as a satellite bike. We've got KTM going well. We've got Aprilia going well. Honda, no. I think everybody's going to be in the fight, bar Honda, which is great news. So, yeah, we're going to have a very strong race next year. Let's just quickly go back to TNT, because we're talking about Mark on the main bike.
4 titles. That's a general feeling that I get when I talk to anyone.
And commercially, obviously, that value is absolutely massive. I suppose the big question was, how could they have kept Jorge? Could they have done more to have kept Jorge? That is what will always be my question. Yeah,
and I think to answer that, I don't think there was anything they could do, because Jorge felt let down.
I think he was
because it was an 11th hour sort of decision.
At Mugello,
And he'd already said, if I don't get red, I'm out.
Yeah, which
so burnt the bridge, really.
Which he had to. He was playing hardball. Mark played hardball, and then one of the riders, whoever didn't get what they wanted, would have stood by what they said. So Mark would have gone to Aprilia probably.
Yeah, business.
Aprilia's next one to go.
Here we are, yeah.
Yeah, Aprilia definitely going to be up there on rider spec next year. They are so fast and so good. So definitely going to take Aprilia's side on things. Linda goes 7th, 2:09.83. Not much is going on in this first free practice session in terms of how to talk about the times, because, of course, it's this afternoon's practice session that's going to be the big one and the big talking point. So I'm looking forward to it. I love the fact that we're here in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur once again, and there's not many bums in seats in the grandstands. So I love that for one reason. Formula One left because they said, all right, we don't want you now. MotoGP brings in more buck. It's going to. It's a sellout on Sunday, but Formula One used to sell out every single day here. And Quartararo's getting pushed in by Johan Zarco. So Miller Cabs are branching out to Johan Zarco. The Yamaha bike having an issue and Zarco pushing him down pit road. That's lovely camaraderie between the two. As they come down then, Quartararo back into pit lane. And out the circuit now goes Pecco Bagnaia as well. This circuit has been renamed, of course. It's now the Petronas Sepang International Circuit. Pole positions on the left-hand side. 3.444 miles as well. 10 right-hand corners, 5 left-hand corners. Lap record here set last year by Bagnaia, the all-time lap record, which is the same as the pole lap time. Comes from Pecco Bagnaia, 1:57.491. We're at 2 minutes, 0.584 at the moment. You can see how we're not even trying yet so far. The best race lap record was set last year by Alex Marquez on the 2022 Ducati. That's a 1:58.979. Of course, Alex Marquez won here last year in the Tissot Sprint. It was his second sprint race victory of the year. So yeah, and Alex still hasn't won a Grand Prix race, but yeah, he has won sprint races. So he's won races, but not the main big event. It gets confusing, but you all know where we're going on that front as well. 8 minutes to go then in this first free practice session for the Malaysian Grand Prix, possibly the last weekend of the MotoGP season in 2024. Whoever's, yeah, that's the thing. The thing is though, what if Martin does end this weekend ahead on points to Bagnaia, but it's not by a plus 25? And then, or what if Bagnaia does the same, but he's ahead and it's not plus 25? Who's champion? Because it's so confusing. We don't know. If the gap is more than 25, Martin is automatically the world champion. So let's get that right straight away. If we leave here, correction, if the gap is more than, what was it, 36? Because is it 11 for the win in the sprint? If the gap is more than 36 points in the championship, Jorge Martin is world champion, regardless if we have a 20th round of the championship or not. So that's the points threshold. But if the gap is less than that, and if Bagnaia gets ahead of him in the championship, and we leave here like it's +2 or something to Bagnaia, is Bagnaia the champion? Don't know, do you? It's confusing. Very confusing. MotoGP and Dorna are literally staring down a rabbit hole. To not mention Valencia in 36 hours plus is really, really bad. Hopefully we'll have news today or tomorrow. But it's getting to the point where it is ridiculous now. We need to know what we're doing. By Sunday, this needs to be decided if this is the last race or not. I'd say by Saturday. Should have been by today, but Dorna are dragging their feet about it as well. This is the problem, actually. Dorna, look, Liberty here next year, and then all of a sudden things will be better. It's a bit weird, this one. So, yeah, 38 hours now since the last time we heard anything from MotoGP and Valencia. That is literally ridiculous. So, just having a look. See if there's any difference on anything so far in... Yeah, they came in from Japan. There's Marco Bezzecchi fans, by the way. Yeah, so just trying to have a look to see if there's anything from MotoGP at the latest. There isn't about where we're going. Pedro Costa's put medium tyres on a brand new Arrow, Maverick Vinales and Lorenzo Salvadori and Pecco Bagnaia, soft front as well. And Bagnaia's gone for a medium rear tyre. Same for Salvadori. Not sure yet on Maverick Vinales. 6 minutes to go. Let's check in quickly with TNT.
Because we're waiting for internet here to open the pictures, but yeah, I see exactly what you mean. I mean, to be honest, it looks ridiculous.
Well, I thought that. It's not my cup of tea.
No, it's not mine either.
But I'll tell you what,
hey.
if I was still racing and someone said,
"I'll make you faster."
Exactly. But yeah, that's huge, isn't it?
Thanks for that picture, Steve. Yeah, that looks insane.
Well, there you go. That's a lap time.
There you go. Yeah.
Second faster than everybody. I'm assuming he's put a new tyre in.
Yeah, he's gone for the medium rear. Everyone's been out with the hard rear so far. So Salvadori's joined him, as is Marco Bezzecchi. But yeah, I think that is the better tyre coming in as this track begins to properly clean up on its edges.
So here we go then, the question about little marginal gains across the weekend, little wins. Do they count, or are they so focused on what they're doing, Pecco and Jorge, that they're not looking at these kinds of things?
I think the marginal gains will play a huge part, and psychological games. Absolutely, Susie. So if you see your title rival smash the first practice session and really dominate and do a lap like, oh, he's just over the limit there slightly. Yeah, you come in and you start to scratch your head, you start to question, you think, oh no. Because there's not a better feeling than when you finish session in first place and you look at your title rival and he's down in 4th or 5th and he's 0.7 behind you, you think, oh yes, it's a great feeling. So yeah, absolutely. Even though you think, well, surely they won't at this point, they'll be just working to their programme. It always plays a part, sits there in the back of your mind.
Michael, the factory Ducati team have said that they've resolved the issue that they had in Thailand on Saturday. Any meat on that bone?
I haven't actually read anything on it. Yeah, the obviously Ducati, they give some bits away, not too much when they have technical issues. But yeah, I think
Just to come back up 3 minutes to go and speak to Amesh here, why this weekend is the last season Valencia cancelled? Valencia hasn't been cancelled yet. This is just to confirm that. We know nothing yet at the moment. Due to the flooding in Spain and the very high death rate that we've got there as well, and the entry to the circuit's actually been destroyed. The road's completely destroyed. If you've seen photos online, you can see you can't get in and out the circuit via transport. Formula E have cancelled their pre-season test there, moved into Harama. MotoGP well, we don't know. We've got, as I say, 4 options. 1, race cancelled. 2, we race here next weekend in Malaysia. 3, the race gets moved around to either Qatar, Portugal, or Barcelona. And the 4th option is that the race is just cancelled and this is the last round. So nobody knows exactly what's going to happen. We've had no news. This possibly is the last race of the championship. And that's what we need to have. Yellow flag out of the circuit. Marini and Mia have had their lap times cancelled because of it. We've gone green again, though. I don't know where that brief yellow came from. Bezecchi goes second, 159.848. As the guy said on TNT. Bagnaia top on a 159.337. Bagnaia, though, has had his lap time cancelled, the current one, for track limits as well. So that gets taken away from him. His last lap time, though, was a 2:03.099. So, yeah, we haven't had Valencia. We haven't had the race cancelled yet. But even the riders have said we shouldn't go and race in Valencia. We don't want to be adding to the pressure there. We don't want to be taking it away while they do relief efforts. Basically, if MotoGP ends up in Valencia and the riders have to race, MotoGP will not have a good reputation in Valencia anymore. They would be racing on blood while the city and the entire country struggle with a tragedy. For an international motorsport to rock up and go, right, let's race then. It wouldn't be right. Valencia, I think I can safely say, this is completely unofficial what I'm allowed to say, but from my personal experience and my personal understanding, Valencia won't happen. There's no way we can race in Valencia. Certainly not on that scheduled date. And we won't go into December with it. So most likely, I think we'll end up racing Qatar on December the 8th to round the championship up in 6 weeks' time. That's my understanding, because they're not going to move to Portugal. They're not going to be. I reckon Qatar could be the option, or just cancel it and this is the last race of the championship. Either way, we're going to know this weekend, and as soon as we know here on JBMotorsports, we will bring it to you, the viewers at home, as well. And if we know in between practice sessions, we'll tell it in practice this afternoon with the hour. So yeah, there's all sorts of possibilities, all sorts of things to keep an eye on as well. I turned the heater on in the garage, but I'm going to turn it off now because I'm sneezing. That's why my nose is running like crazy as well at the moment. Checker flags out soon. Final thoughts.
The Moto 3 days, but this is an impressive. I'm having this championship.
Start to the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, Michael.
Someone's down. Pedro.
Acosta's down. Yeah, Acosta's down. He's thrown it away down at turn 9 on the inside line. So Pedro Acosta briefly crashing out of the session. He will get it back up, however, as the checkered flag is out shortly, and that's going to release the times and stop everybody now from going on and talking about it. So that's certainly one way to end the session, unfortunately. Again, kind of saw that coming between them all, so we can't really be surprised on that manner. I'm just trying to adjust the timing screens because they're all glitching all over the place. So flags out, no lap times will stand in this third sector now. Bagnaia 158.805 goes up to the top. Acosta will take his bike away. Yellow flag's been retrieved in as well. So that's it, the end of the first session here. Let's have a look what happened to Acosta on the entry turn 9. Just as soon as he turns in on the entry, bike dipped at the dip. Front got away from him. And it pushed it away. Marc Marquez that time cancelled. Andrea Iannone lap time cancelled. 43 lap time cancelled as well. And the 12 of Maverick Vinales. Is it bad that I can't remember who the 43 is? Yeah, 25 cancelled as well. 5, 30, 33. That's Jack Miller, of course, with the 43. Brains has gone foggy at 3:30 in the morning here as well. Andrea Iannone adjusted fast. Yeah, up into 9th place for Andrea Iannone. 2:06.51. He has adjusted fast, hasn't he? He's a World Superbike rider. He's not going to come in being shabby. He's going to come in right on the ball. Good time there from Andrea. Let's see if he makes it qualifying too, I'll be impressed. This is a joke what I'm about to say, so don't ever go at me, but I hope when it comes time for him to pee in a cup, it all comes out, the golden, not green. So, Bagnaia, who, as Neil Hodgson said, has come into the first practice session saying with an attitude, I want to win this championship, I want to come and win this here this weekend. It is mine, I'm going to take a firm grasp of it. There's a 1:58.795. He's fastest, with Maverick Vinales second, Marco Bezzecchi's third, Jack Miller's fourth, Pedro Costa in fifth, Jorge Martin is sixth, Alex Marquez seventh, Fabio Quartararo is 8th, Andrea Iannone 9th, and Augusto Fernandez is 10th. Takiki Nakagami is 11th, with Marc Marquez in 12th, Franco Morbidelli is 13th, 14th for Neo Bastianini, 15th Brad Binder, 16th Alex Rins, 17th Johan Zarco, 18th Lorenzo Salvadori, 19th Juan Mir, 20th Luca Marini, 21st for Raul Fernandez, and 22nd for Aleix Espargaro. Let's hand over to TNT then for the practice start session.
Curve, because you essentially have more grip on the bike, it turns better, it all just feels a little bit better, but fair play to him, but still, even though he's got put a softer, let's say, combination in, to be inside the top 10, your first time on a MotoGP bike since 2019,
that's phenomenal.
Deserves respect.
Yeah, and he always was, like you say, he always was quick. He always was good at qualifying as well.
Yeah.
So, hot lap, interesting. What do you make of this session then? What have we learned from that? Normally we learn nothing. We have learned something today.
Yeah, we have learned Pecco's approach to this weekend is to go out there and try and crush this man, to try and lead every session if possible and make Jorge a little bit more nervous coming into the sprint tomorrow afternoon. But yeah, I think good to see the Aprilias are actually working here. Ducati's obviously strong across the board, and the 3 KTMs at points in that session all look good. Jack Miller 4th, Pedro despite the crash in 5th, and Binder only end up 15th, but was on some good sectors there as well. So yeah, it looks like we've got a few manufacturers in the mix here for what will be a decider, I do believe, in terms of the title race.
Tell you what we have learned. So also, this is how I see it, Bagnaia works for Sunday. He works, put more laps on what he thinks is going to be the race tyre. We've got to evaluate that. That's what he's done. He can't afford to do that with 2 rounds to go. He has to win the sprint. He has to win the main race. What he's done there is he's focusing. He's done the opening laps, done some laps, but now he's focusing on the sprint. Even already, he's put some laps in to try to evaluate what this tyre feels like. Could we run it in the sprint? That's how what I'm learning.
You just said that you think it's going to be decided this weekend, Michael.
No, I think maybe not decided this weekend. This will have a big... you're twisting my words there, Susie. No,
that's exactly what you said.
This will have a big part in it. So
right, okay.
if Pecco comes out here and swings and wins both races, and Martin cracks under pressure, then all of a sudden it's game on. We're a level playing field. Well, if the opposite happens and Martin beats him both times, it's almost done.
Almost done, yeah.
It may not be decided, but it's almost done.
Yeah. But Jorge Martin is the king of the sprint.
He is, and he was better than Pecco here last year in the sprint. Not so in the feature race, but yeah, Jorge's got to take a few points out of him tomorrow and just keep chipping away at his confidence.
Now, we've talked a lot about what we do want to see. We'd love to see an out-and-out battle between those two. Of course we would. What we don't want to see is what happened last year to Jorge Martin when he ended up with what seemed to be
a tyre issue.
Yeah. We do not want to see that for either rider at this point of the championship, because people will cry foul.
It'd be the worst thing for the championship, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
It wouldn't look good on Ducati if there was an issue. Imagine if there was a technical issue on Jorge Martin's bike. And I'm being totally serious now. Imagine it being a genuine issue, like he has a technical problem, which can happen, it would look so bad. And I feel sorry for everyone concerned, because if you're Jorge Martin for the rest of your life, if you don't win the championship, you feel like you've been had. You would feel like you've been had, I would.
And this could be his last big chance of winning the World Championship in MotoGP. Let's hope it isn't, but looking at the Ducatis...
In the near future,
yeah.
you've got to say, until the 2027 huge reg change come, you got to say it's Ducati's era. They're going to win this world title. They're going to win the next two, you would imagine. So yeah, I feel for Jorge. If it doesn't happen for him, he's off to Aprilia for a couple of years, and it may be a tough time. I really hope it isn't the case where somehow they manage to give him tools that he can remain at this level, but I somehow doubt it. I just see Ducati, they are ahead of the game. Locking out the top 8 last week just shows where they're at in terms of the material that they provide to all the riders, satellite teams and everything.
You cannot imagine what this man is thinking right now. It's so difficult, isn't it?
So what he does is doing it again. So interesting, this. So it's coming to the pits at the end of the session, and then they're now going out to do the practice starts, and he attacks the outlap. It's marginal gains. It's being on the limit straight away, out the pits, on the limit. And what's that then? Well, that's preparing himself for the start of the races, for the start of the sprint, to be able to just put the hammer down. Really good to see.
Yeah, let's watch this then, and watch it in a different way to how we normally watch practice starts.
What? Not criticise. Not take the mic.
It's not aimed at you, Neil, at all.
Yeah. Take this seriously. No, I totally agree with what you're saying. Let's see who has the advantage on the practice starts.
Good launch from Martin.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
Daniele's happy with that.
Daniele's happy, yeah.
Yeah, great launch, great launch.
Yeah.
Here comes
Barely
Bagnaia.
any lift from the front.
Here we go then.
The tank.
Here we go. Let's have a look at Pecco's. Fabio first.
Good launch from Fabio.
Great, actually, Fabs, isn't it?
Look at the whole shot device lowering on Bagnaia.
That's a great view. No. Come on.
Helpful.
There we go.
Nope.
No.
Yeah, and that's the difference. There you go. That's
Front
the
came up.
difference between getting the whole shot, or if you start on the if they were both on the front row, if you're Pecco, you're about 4th into turn 1, and Martin would have whole shotted. Because as it lifts, what happens is the EC, the brain of the bike, then just the way you've got it set.
Should we watch 29?
Inoni's trying to work out what to do, isn't he? Oh, look how complicated
This is what you've
look.
got to do.
Don't forget to pump the clutch. This will be horrible.
Inoni's got like, what was
Well,
that
like,
off
it was
the
a
line?
half attempt, weren't it?
Yeah.
What he didn't do, he
Well,
didn't
you don't embarrass yourself, do
No,
you?
he
Didn't
give
know
him
what
full
to do
throttle,
with
he
it,
didn't
to be
dump the
fair.
clutch. I'm not criticising him. I'd have done exactly the same.
Exactly. You have to trust the system.
Yeah, that was him building into trusting the system. And what'll happen, he'll get another practice start, and then the team will say, right, listen, you need to, or you forgot to press that, or whatever. So.
Well, he got Bez helping him out there. Here we go, slow motion.
You can see the rear spin.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
It's
as
on
soon as the front
Bagnaia.
wheel comes up, the bike will naturally then just take some power away from it. Look how the fairing is around the belly pan.
Big weekend here in Malaysia. I mean, it really is.
You forgot where we were?
You know, sometimes when you go through passport, when you get off a flight and you're tired, and they go, "What flight have you just been on, Mum?" I'm like, "I don't know." They say, "Well, where have you just come from?" I think, I don't know where I've just come from.
Oh.
I did have that moment then, yes.
I do it. I honestly, and you know what I'm like? I always look at them and I go, hang on, just give me a minute. I know this one. And hang on. You know. And then it's me. I obviously talk too much. I go, I do a lot of travelling. I travel all the time with my job. But hang on, where have I just come from?
I also do have an Indonesia-Malaysia blog for some strange reason. I don't know why. It must be something to do with the weather. Right, take 2.
Not as good.
Not as good, no.
But sometimes the clutch I always feel like the clutch can be a bit hot for the second start.
Second time around. They are pretty much designed for one abusive start. That's why they just ride off the start of the warm-up lap.
What abusive stuff.
It
Michael,
is-
your way with words is just fabulous.
It is abusive, isn't it, what you're putting it through?
Well, he'll be saying that to himself as well, won't he? Well, you know, it's the clutch because
Yeah,
it's the
it's
second
too
one.
hot,
It's
wasn't it?
fine. Have we seen his second? No, he's coming into his... Have we seen his second stop?
No.
We didn't see it, did we?
I think he's only had one attempt.
That's interesting.
Oh, he's actually got enough time to go on the other bike? No. It is
Just doing a
literally
practice.
practice bike swap.
That could play a part in it.
Good little
As
hop.
in, that was a quick one, that.
Was.
Well, do you know why? Because that could be like that this weekend. That was a full practice. You know, when they half-heartedly sort of
Yeah.
practice six, it's like, well, it's not
Probably
going to
not
be a
gonna
like.
But we are... It is predicted today some rain, I think at 1 o'clock. But it looks like it's only going to be a shower. It's not going to go on all afternoon. Yeah, very different that was, wasn't it?
That
to
was
the first
scrappier,
one?
weren't it?
Did look scrappier as well, and everyone now has returned to the pit lane. So that's the end then of this first MotoGP session of the 2024 Malaysia Grand Prix weekend. It could be the final one of the season as well. We don't know exactly what's happening just yet. So that could be the final first practice of the year. It's an unusual situation. Join us again, though, in about 3 hours' time for all action from the very crucial hour practice afternoon, which will set the running order for qualifying 1 and qualifying 2. Thanks for your company here today, though. We'll see you later for practice in the afternoon. Take care. Bye-bye.